Great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Hannah Grufferman. I am the host of GRUFFtalk, How to Age Better podcast. So happy to have you here today. My guest is Lynne Fletcher O'Brien, an incredible woman who started an incredible company that has products that are, well, waterwear, which I guess is the more modern way of saying swimwear or swimming suit. As she pointed out to me recently, it's not just about going for a swim, but it's about doing all of these other activities that are water adjacent, water related. So I'm really looking forward to hearing about this because not only are the products like beautiful and they protect your skin, which she'll tell us more about, but also they do good for the world. 100%, I believe it's 100%, and
Yes.
Lynn is in a minute will kind of
Yes.
confirm that. Will go. The profits will go to helping our oceans and also fighting cancer. Like this is amazingly good.
Thank you.
So welcome to GRUFFtalk, Lynn.
Thank you for having me. Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah, this is really fun. I love talking with women entrepreneurs who have kind of unusual backgrounds and then, because of life circumstances, as with you, kind of moved into a different direction. But you
Right.
did take a pivot into creating this company, I think about 4 years ago. Am I right? Can you tell us the
Yes.
backstory?
Yes, so it is a major pivot. I have no experience in retail or fashion. I'm a lawyer by training, but and I worked in healthcare. But then I was diagnosed with leukemia about 11 years ago, and it's a chronic leukemia, CLL. And, very tough to hear that at first, that diagnosis.
Of course.
Especially the first year is sort of watch and wait, and we're not sure what treatment you're going to have. We don't know how serious it is. And it turns out I didn't have great markers and prognosis in that terms, but I didn't need chemotherapy for about 5 years. And now I'm on a drug regimen. I'll tell you about it later. But what was the toughest for me to hear was that you can't be in the sun, or you've got to be really careful in the sun because you are at much higher risk for melanoma. And I also have, and on top of that, both my parents have had melanomas, my grandparents. So I was already at risk.
Wow.
But having this cancer, they said this kind of leukemia or this type, there are a couple types of leukemia, you're at more risk just because of your immune system and, different factors in your body. So I thought, oh God, at first I sort of panicked, like not only am I not going to live long, but which is not true. Now I feel like I can see the future, but not only that, I can't be out. Thank you. I can't be outside and do the things I love when I'm not
Right.
working. So that's sort of the backstory. And I started looking for all kinds of products. I literally all over the world. And I knew that Australia has a great, they're sort of ahead of us with skin protection. I ordered all kinds of things. But what I found is either things were very tiny in size or they were neon colors, like, sort of the neon
The
highlighter
pink.
colors.
Yes.
And although I
seen
am
them.
wearing, this is our brightest color, but most of ours are not as bright. And also they would show, for example, swim leggings, which is a concept I have to sell, not just my own, but the concept of wearing leggings in the water. But they would show swim leggings maybe with a bikini top. And I will say that at the same time with the skin, melanoma problem, I'm also, everyone comes to a point where they just don't feel that comfortable in a bathing suit. And it's not body positivity or body shaming. I just feel like if I'm out with neighbors, or even let's say my husband had work trips and I'm basically in my bra and underwear with people I don't know very well.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I
I
just
totally get that. I totally
don't
get
feel,
that.
I just think I don't feel comfortable in a bathing suit anymore. And I just thought there's got to be an alternative. And it was really hard to find some. I mean, there are this sort of, it was on Sports Illustrated. I saw the burkini. That was after I had started this. But, if women are modest and want to cover up, but there weren't really things that you could cover up and be very active. And I wanted to create something that I basically call sort of athletic wear that you can wear in the water. It's made for the water. But obviously, like this dress I'm wearing, you could play
And it's
pickleball.
beautiful. I love
Thank
that
you.
color. I mean,
Thank you.
Barbie.
I know. That's
It's
why I'm
very in
wearing
right
it.
now.
That's why I'm wearing it right now, because I pulled it out and I thought this is the month for pink.
Yes.
But I really had to scour, and I ordered everything in sight, and there was still nothing I really wanted to wear. I mean, sure, I found maybe a rash guard I could wear over bathing suit. But I thought, let's do it. I'm going to figure out how to do this. And
Amazing.
I wanted to have the give back component too. And I sort of, in my mind, I thought I want to be like Sarah Blakely, who makes Spanx, who has transformed things. I want to be Paul Newman, who gives away his profits. Because when I go to the grocery, if I see Greek salad dressing and I see Paul Newman's, I'm going to buy Paul Newman's, knowing that the profits 100% are going somewhere.
Right.
So I thought of that, and I thought sort of with a Tory Burch flair, like a little more upscale looking and a little more for women, maybe not in their 20s. Right. Necessarily. And now I'm a Tory Burch fellow, which is really fun because I always had sort of her style in mind. And one more thing I should add is I thought it was for an older woman, but we're finding it's not. My daughter just moved from 4 years in Hawaii and is a surfer and rocks a bikini, but she's worried about her skin too. Yeah, so she wears our things. Exactly. And all of her friends, if you're out surfing for hours, you can't be in a bikini. You've got to cover your shoulders, your back, your legs. So I'm finding that younger women are buying our product too.
There's a market there too. It's not just
for menopausal women, let's say.
Right. But we do know that, God, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I remember going to the beach, and I'm blonde and blue-eyed, I'm fair-skinned, and just rubbing baby oil mixed with iodine.
We did the same thing.
Over my face, but all over my body. And
aluminum
at
foil.
The beach, then took a reflector and used that on my face. I mean, I would be burnt to a crisp, and of course we all thought, oh, doesn't that look grand? Or we would use the Bain de Soleil that smelled so good. That's one of the kind of smell memories I have of my teen years and tween years. And of course, all of those burns that I got and everybody in my generation got, they're coming back to kick us in the butt now. I have not had melanoma, thank goodness, so far. Please.
Right. I haven't either.
But I have had basal cell.
Me too.
At least 3 times with Mohs surgery required,
and I had it on my head,
including on my leg. So to your point about the pants, I couldn't agree with you more for like everything that you said. Yes, I mean, I don't feel as confident or happy in a bathing suit like I did. But more importantly, because another part of me says like, what do I care? But more importantly is the skin protection element. I have to say, it is top of mind. So I do wear rash guards and things that are sold to surfers, for example. And I do find that I'm wearing like more skirt type things over my and when I'm sitting down, and I don't bask anymore, I usually cover up my legs with a towel if I'm just sitting under an umbrella.
Because and I'm also hot with direct sun. Like I feel better wearing this than with the sun on my skin.
Right.
And I would say, the first time we can talk about the history, but the first time I had a sample and I walked down the beach in my leggings, like do you feel good in your yoga pants? Because I do.
Yeah. Definitely.
And the minute I had my first swim leggings on with a rash guard that's pretty fitted and I walked down the beach, I thought this is the first time in decades that I haven't been self-conscious, because usually I would have a towel wrapped around me or wrapped around my waist to cover my legs just for that factor. But now feeling like I'm also cooler when I wear it. The sun's not beating down. And I thought, I think I'm onto something. And that was just the very beginning when I had a few samples. But
interesting thing you said about cooling down, because I'm a runner and I'm training for the New York City Marathon again. Wow. And, so training in the summer in our part of the world is tricky, especially recently, with the heat wave. Thank goodness it's settled down right now, but it's hot. And
what do you wear?
Right. So I find I do wear little running skirts with a lot of sunscreen on my legs, but because wearing pants, or sometimes, but I often wear my long Lululemon running pants, the compression pants that come down to almost my ankle. So I switch on and off. But the thing with the top, I always wear something white and over my tank top, because it actually not only does it protect my skin, but it also cools me down. by covering your skin.
It,
So tell us about your company, which is Line in the Sand.
right.
Really incredible. And it is dedicated to supporting, which is so wonderful, the health of our oceans. They do need a lot of help, as we know. And also fighting cancer, certainly, I'm assuming, because of your own personal experience. And, but talk to us about your production and materials and that are used in your waterwear line, and are they eco-friendly? Are they sustainable? Like, is that a part of your whole
Yes.
model as well?
Yeah, so I had I was brainstorming about this and I did a lot of research. And it's funny, the name came to me sort of in the middle of the night because
It's a good name. Line
thank
in the
you. Well,
Sand.
and
It's
I
great.
had to really you think about it, what I was going to name it, but it came to me like, I'm not going to stay out of the water. I'm not going to be embarrassed to be in a bathing suit. I'm not going to burn my skin. Like, I'm going to draw my line in the sand. And then I also thought, I've got to leave the world a better place too. So it was sort of like, this is ridiculous. I would go walking on the beach every morning. We have this great lighthouse I can walk out to, and I would bring a plastic bag with me that I would find. First of all, I wouldn't even need to bring a bag half the time. I'd find these bags and I'd be clearing up trash, balloons and bottles and ropes, and I'm thinking, this is ridiculous that
That's
everywhere I go.
horrible.
I even went with my son on a trip to Costa Rica, and we were on this remote little river, and there was plastic hanging on all the trees. I mean,
It's
the whole way down
just,
the river.
it's
It's
heartbreaking.
horrible. And I thought, we got to do something about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw the line in the sand on this. We've got to, if we don't protect our oceans, it's the majority of the world is water, not land, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to start there. And then, of course, the cancer. I've been very involved in those causes.
Yeah.
And I thought they don't necessarily sound like they would go together, but in my mind, they do. And I just had this thought of, let's have this give back. And I want to do this right. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. And so we have sought, well, first of all, we're anti-plastic, right? So we
Yes.
have a water bottle. And, it's kind of quaint. I go back to in 2020 when it was right before COVID. I thought, New Year, I put a sticker in our refrigerator and said, no water bottles in 2020. Little did I know what we were in for with COVID. But that was sort of, okay, I'm going to take this step for my family. We're not going to use any single-use plastics.
Right.
And then I thought, well, if I'm going to do that with my company, I really sort of found the fabric first. And this fabric is made in Italy out of recycled plastics and waste.
Brilliant.
And it's such a soft, beautiful fabric. And I thought it's a little more expensive, but I'm not going to buy something that is cheaply made. And even a lot of fabric that is recycled, made of recycled plastic, has little beads that go into the system. So I thought, I'm going to find that one product that is good. And it's this brand called Carvico. And even the factory, the way
Leave
they're
it
run.
to Italy.
I know, exactly. I'm dying to go visit the factory, but I can't find a reason yet. But even
I have a reason.
I
Just
know. Let's
go
just
visit
go.
the factory.
I know. That's another, right? We got to live for today. Another thing.
Absolutely.
But
Sorry
but,
to interrupt.
Yeah, but it's so well done there, and even the way their whole system of reusing the water and cooling it down, and so I started there, and then I wanted to find, factories that had good practices, fair wages, and there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot that you have to look at with fast fashion now.
Yes.
Yeah, and
that's a thing.
Yeah,
and not a good thing. Yeah.
No, and I just wanted to do it right, and even our packaging, the bags that it comes inside the box are recyclable. We don't use plastic. We keep track of our carbon footprint and shipping. I mean, I really just wanted to do things right. But even our zipper, when we started, that's a whole nother story because it was 2020. And of course, our fabric was held up in Italy when we were about to go in production, because do you remember how they closed down?
Yeah,
after China?
sure do. Yep.
So at that time, we were going to be the first people. This is a recycled zipper. And it was the first one that was going to be used in the US. And now other people are using it. But I thought, let's make the whole thing, as eco-friendly as we can. So I'm really proud of that. And even we have
as you should be.
Well,
really,
thank
as you
you.
should be.
And
And
we
you've
have-
created such beautiful things
Thank
that
you.
look
Well,
fabulous on. In
Thank
fact,
you.
what you're wearing right now, getting back to that, the Barbie dress, let's call it the Barbie dress for today.
right.
It's just so great. And I could picture myself, I mean, I go back and forth between New York City and Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I often walk my dog on the beach, and I'm very careful about covering myself up properly with the rash guard and all that, but I'd like to have something a little more stylish. I could
Right.
see wearing that dress for all of my walks around the neighborhood with the dog and on the beach, and, so
Absolutely.
I'm assuming that dress is really quite popular, but do you have what
It's
are your
funny. It
most
wasn't.
popular things?
I didn't think it would be this dress, but it flies off the shelf. I mean, and we keep making more colors, and you can't do it overnight. It's not as I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure
Supply
the hard way,
chain and
especially
the hard
during
way.
COVID.
During
Oh my
COVID,
gosh.
supply chain, getting thread, getting zippers. We've had every shipping mishap you can imagine. But yes, this has been our most popular item by far. And I think because it's versatile, and we had Katie Couric wore it, and then she's worn it a couple of times, and it was in Oprah magazine as it said under, they had things for like large women or big breasted women or tiny women, and ours was under something, it just said stroke of genius.
Oh
And yeah, and
yeah.
I thought, oh,
I'm
so
going to
that
make
was,
sure I add the links to all of those things
oh,
you just told
great.
me in the show notes for sure. People
Okay.
should see that. That's great.
Great. And Katie Kirk, she promotes things a lot for me, which is great. She just loves it. And this week she had something about the top purchases of summer. And one was this dress, and one is a linen dress that we're actually making in Europe. But it has all kinds of certifications for the linen and the production. So that's been, and not everyone cares about that, but I do. And I think people, if they're looking for it, it's hard to find a dress. And our dress, it sort of looks like that Frank and Eileen dress, but I do wear this. It's like a shirt dress that can be a beach cover up because not everybody wants to be sporty. Someone told me that early on. I know it's for water women and you want to be active and not have a malfunction with your bathing suit, but
Right.
she said, I just want to have protection on the beach. So I do
Right.
have that linen top.
Not
And
everybody goes to the beach and just sits there and basks in the sun, as we were talking about before.
Right.
I mean, because when I'm in Virginia, because I'm so close, like walking distance to the beach,
That's
I don't
great.
go for the whole day. I'll just go for an hour with my book under an umbrella, and I won't even wear a bathing suit. So, that's a perfect
Exactly.
thing to wear. Yeah, no, I'm
well,
excited.
and we say that it can go from, beach to bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've played golf in it. I've played pickleball in it, or in our leggings. So there's a lot you can do. But I think like some of your athletic pants, maybe you probably wouldn't swim in. So I feel like ours starts with the water.
Yes.
And it's funny. I've noticed a trend on my Instagram and what's being brought to my attention. But I'm seeing a lot now for the first time of people saying like a skirt, because we also have a skirt, a skirt for swimming or a dress. So I do think it's catching on, and I'm not afraid of the competition. I like it because I think the more people are accepting that you don't have to wear a bathing suit, and you can wear leggings or sleeveless or a long sleeve, fashionable looking rash guard. I think it's good for everyone.
Oh, definitely
So
is. Definitely is. I'm really intrigued by the skirt because that's pretty much what I wear when I rotate my running pants. It's a skirt or it's the running pants that cover up really most
right.
of my legs. And I'm a big fan of skirts, really,
Yes.
they're just incredible. And to be able to wear a skirt actually in the water, it's a great idea.
It's great. And
Yeah.
you, of course,
And I like
you could wear it other
paddleboarding, so
places.
it's like a perfect
That's how
thing.
it started. I'm here in Cape Cod right now, and I paddleboard. And I thought, I don't have to be paddleboarding in a bathing suit. I feel so much better with the leggings and top on. Just comfort, sun, and you don't want your top falling off, or if you fall in the water, which I do, your bathing suit falling down or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
slipping off. I mean, that's just like a
exactly.
horrible experience to have that we've all had. I remember one time I got knocked by a wave, not here, it was actually a New York beach. And a friend of mine was on the beach while I was in the water. And all of a sudden, I was pretty far out too. That's when I was fearless. It may have been before Jaws, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. And all of a sudden, I see her on the beach going, and I'm like, what? And then bang, I got hit by this massive wave out
Oh
of
my
nowhere.
goodness.
And I remember tumbling, lost an earring.
Right.
And of course, I was wearing a two-piece, like one was over my head. It was
Right.
it was a
That's
memorable
exactly it.
experience that I
That's
don't want to
so
repeat
funny.
ever.
Well, I do. So I do paddleboard. I've also been trying with limited success to kiteboard. Have you seen that? So that again, you're under force in the water and holding on, and it's
That's
just
all about the wind, right? I mean,
it's all about the wind.
Yeah.
It's not so much strength. It's really more finesse with the kite. But when you're starting, you're in the water and it pulls you up, and it's just great to have this clothing for me. So
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
you're very
sailing,
active in the
boating.
water.
Yes.
Makes sense. Absolutely
Yes.
makes sense. About paddleboarding, you did say that you fall in. The first time I went paddleboarding was a few years ago, and I happened to be in the Cayman Islands, a nice little trip
Oh, wow.
that we took with our daughter. It was a lovely, lovely trip. And that was my first time paddleboarding. And the guy said to me, he gave me the board, and he said, all you need to know is this one thing: never look down. If you
true.
look down, you'll fall. If you don't look down, you won't
Right.
fall. And
That's
I
a good
kept
point.
that in my head. I've never fallen. I mean, I haven't
Wow,
gone a billion
that's
times
great.
by any means, but
Right.
I've never fallen. It's the
I fall
only
when
when I
there's a
tried to do
wave.
yoga one time I got all fancy schmancy and did yoga, lifted a
Yes.
leg. Of course I fell.
I've tried that. I fall. Well, we have a strong current in certain areas, and then waves. But you're right. If I look
Oh,
down,
sure.
But I've got to remember. I've got to remember that.
Yeah,
So
never look down.
never look
Like,
down.
oh, there's a fish come. Don't look.
Don't look.
Don't
That's
look.
so great. I think I'm starting to focus more on just making it ourselves. But we have had, like, lingua franca. They have these, it's these beautiful cashmere sweaters made in New York, and they have an expression on the front, or it's sort of a political statement sometimes.
Right.
And we had a sweater that said "Make Waves," which we loved, and that sold out. And we've done something with people ask about men's. We don't really have many men's except for T-shirts and rash guards, but we are selling Fair Harbor, which is another company that has sort of values like we do. But more of the collaborations, or maybe that's not the right word, it's just working with these organizations
Yeah.
that we partner with. Like Sea Legacy is one of my favorites. They're National Geographic photographers, and their whole mission is protecting the ocean, and we've been making a uniform for them. Or
So you actually work with or partner with several different
Yes.
not-for-profits, I'm assuming, for both
Yes.
ocean health as well as cancer.
Yes, and some of the cancer ones, of course, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, Stand Up to Cancer. We've given to Prevent Cancer Foundation and Cancer Support Community. And right now we're even working with this great organization in California that's for young cancer survivors, like young adults. And it's a great way, if we're running low on certain inventory, that I'm just giving them product that, it's great product. We're just running out of certain sizes. So we try to do, for me, I think what's more important at the end of the day, and my husband's been very supportive of this because we've had ups and downs, but you're getting the message out. We're helping people that really need it. I mean, I do get letters from women every week that are just keep me going. Like, you've changed my life having this, and it's not just the coast. People buy it who live by lakes or who
Oh, absolutely.
in the
or even not
Midwest
by
who are-
water at all.
Right,
I mean, just
gardening and-
it's really just being outside and living, an active life. Hopefully, if you're not a runner, you're a walker, or maybe now a
Exactly.
pickleball player.
Exactly.
Be careful of all those injuries you can get.
I know. My sister had one. No, and that's another exciting thing in the fall. We have coming out a new skirt, and then also a pickleball dress that will have built-in shorts, but
That's
making
great.
sure it's not heavy so you can swim in it, and one dress with a built-in bra. So we have a couple of new products coming. But I think what's the best thing is, I was saying, just how we have people saying, I'm feel free for the first time. Or I have a neighbor who said she hasn't gone to the beach in 20 years, and she shows up every day and she rocks this outfit in her leggings and the rash guard with long sleeves. And I think that's the best collaboration for me.
That is the
just
best collaboration.
listening to our customers and really, listening to what they want and getting that message out. And even we do have a lot of people who are Middle Eastern or, for religious reasons need to cover up.
So I said in the intro that you were going to confirm that it is 100%.
Yes, it is.
It's incredible.
And we didn't always make a profit. And at that point, we were just giving money from that we were bringing in, which isn't really the smartest way to do business. But I knew hanging in for the long term that it would work out. And, this year I was, as I said, a Tory Burch Fellow. And I really learned, because I've
What
never
does
run a
that
business.
mean, a Tory Burch Fellow? Can you tell us what that
yes.
means?
So we had to apply for it. And, Tory Burch started her company, but her main desire was to create a company that had a foundation,
Right.
which most people don't do. And which was really neat when I saw that we had similar, our goals were aligned.
Yes.
But what they do is you apply, and every year they pick 50 fellows and give you extensive training and help and advice. And I didn't get it the first year that I applied. And then I thought, okay, I'll, tuck in my tail and, tail between my legs and apply again. And I was chosen, and it's just a great group of women. And we would learn everything. I mean, again, I was a lawyer. I don't have the financial background or how to, manage social media. I mean, here I am doing Instagram and social media, how to do Shopify, how to budget for inventory. I mean, I didn't even know anything about production. So it's sort of, but it's great. I mean, I know you talk a lot about menopause and those sorts of issues on your podcast. And for me at this age, I'm 61 now, to have this new career and something that gets me out of bed every day, it's really fun. And
you know what? That is probably the most important thing that women, no, I want them to take away a lot of things from our conversation, right, of course, but that is so critical to our long-term health and well-being, mental health and physical health. It all works together. Having
right.
a goal in life, having a reason to get up every day. We know it's science backed that this is critical to aging better,
Exactly.
which is
Well,
really everything I talk about.
It's kind of fun because all the women that I work with are younger than I am and know all this. They're so much more tech savvy. But my mentor and my advisor is Kay Unger, who know Kay Unger.
I saw that on your website.
Yes,
yeah.
I was introduced to her. A friend of mine said, you have to meet her. And I said, I was in New York. I said, oh my gosh, I can't meet with Kay Unger. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I literally said no, because I didn't know a hang tag versus, all the, just so many words. And so then the next, 6 months later, I thought, all right, well, I'll meet with her and I will try to hold it together and sound, like I know what I'm doing. And she's just been incredible. But she, proudly says she's, I think, 78 now. And she has more energy than I do, or my daughter. She is up all night. She is working hard on all kinds of causes. And so for me, it's been this new friendships, and I'm just inspired not only by Kay, but these younger women. And in the Tory Burch group, I was probably the oldest. There were maybe two of us, and the next, age group was in their 20s and 30s,
So, but, we can all learn from each other. That's another really important, I think, tool that we should all kind of keep in our back pockets, is having that intergenerational, or having those intergenerational relationships, like older people, younger
Absolutely.
people. We learn from all different ages and all different people, different perspectives, different lenses. Yeah, it's important.
It's been great. And it's
wonderful
fun.
Opportunity for you.
It's
How does that work? So you have 1 year of this training?
So 1 year. So I
as
just
a fellow?
finished. We had our in-person event in June in New York. We were there that week with the fires in New York. So that was kind of interesting.
Wow.
And some of the women had never been to New York, and they weren't just in fashion. It could be, we had someone who makes these tracks for the ground so that a wheelchair can go over the sand or the, your yard. And we had women making liquor or coffee, or just all kind of consultants.
I just was
PR.
assuming it was only fashion related. Oh,
I thought it would be too.
Wonderful.
It was really fun, and just
Good
to meet
for
everyone.
her.
She spoke, and I mean that's her main. That's what gets her up every day. I mean, running a fabulous company, but they do amazing things for women in her foundation and high school students and everything else. So it was a really huge, huge honor to be a part of that. It was really fun. And I learned so much.
For you.
I'm like a sponge, because this is, I worked, in government, and I worked, for Biden, for the cancer moonshot.
Thank you. I was going to bring it up next. Can you just tell us about that past experience for then Vice President Biden?
Right. I mean, it was phenomenal. And there was a very small team, but sometimes I felt a little bit like Robert De Niro in The Intern, that movie, because again, I was the oldest person, and they're saying, oh, can you put together an Excel spreadsheet doing this? It's just a lot of things that I had to learn in that regard. But again, the younger women, I felt like I mentored them. They taught me, but it was an unbelievable year. And that's really what I was already on the board of Leukemia Lymphoma Society, but it really propelled me in the cancer world. And what we did is, like, my role was helping sort of everyday Americans get involved in fighting cancer, and also just we were trying to bring organizations together. Like, for example, sunscreen. We had a sunscreen manufacturer give away free sunscreen in the city of Miami. Like, we had all these projects around the country. Or it might be, LLS committed to $5 million for AML, which is the toughest cancer, the toughest leukemia. And so it was that sort of thing of bringing in, we were trying to break down the silos and bring people from all industries together. And we were making a ton of progress. And of course, then, Biden and Obama were out of office. We didn't think that Hillary Clinton was going to lose. We thought it would be continued. And it's back, without getting too political, but it is back now to some extent with Biden as president. I mean, they have a number of people working on these issues and trying to keep it going. But a lot of it was going on in the private sector. I mean, the one thing I was proudest of was helping bring cancer care to the Navajo Nation. And we went out there and saw this center being opened. And even after Biden was in office, this work continued with Cancer Support Community. That was one organization.
Wasn't it the first one?
First one, yes.
It's very impressive,
remember that?
Lynn.
Yes, and it was amazing. And I went out there, and we had the ribbon cutting and saw it, and we had these doctors. And that, again, was before COVID, and a lot of people in the Navajo Nation died of COVID, and it was very sad. But up until then, I mean, first of all, they were on contaminated land. If they had, more likely to get cancer. And then if they had it, there was nowhere to go. They would have to drive hours, which of course they don't have the money to do that in car. And what do you do with your kids? So it was just an incredibly fulfilling thing all around. Plus, getting to do the Christmas party at the White House. I mean, all the little extras were very cool too.
A little perk.
Yeah. And again, it was like an energizing type thing, late in my 50s to have this. I hadn't worked in an office in a long time. I was raising my kids and doing volunteer work at their school and on boards, but to actually go into an office every day, it was incredible learning experience. And I hope I gave back as well, but I definitely got a lot out of it.
Lynn, you gave back and you continue to give back with your company and everything else that you're doing. There really should be more people like you. Right now I'm feeling like, I should be doing so much more than I'm doing. But, it's motivating. It's like, okay, I've got to get, back on track with a lot of that.
Right. You do a lot by educating women and calming us down in menopause. So thank you for that.
And after.
I've watched you before. Yes.
I'm way beyond menopause, but but thank you for that.
Yes.
But this has been incredible. There will be, I have been keeping a couple of notes here. I can write when I'm not looking of links I want to make sure I include in the show notes down below in both the YouTube version of this conversation as well as on all the audio podcast streaming platforms. So everyone take a look at those for more information, of course, about the company Line in the Sand. But Lynn, before I let you go, and we really covered so much. Are there like 3 things, I always like to ask my guests that you want to make sure women remember, and some men, I have men listening in too, that the GRUFFtalk audience should remember from our conversation today? Well,
great. Yeah. Well, I mean, the number one thing, whether you buy our product, you don't have to, you've got to protect yourself from the sun, protect your skin, you got to wear a hat. I had the Mohs surgery on my head. You've got to wear a hat, sunscreen, and cover up. I guess number 2 is don't hold back from getting out there, doing what you love to do, without letting a bathing suit hold you back. I know so many people that don't go to the beach because they don't want to wear, what are they going to wear, or don't want to pack for vacation. So just get out there.
Or don't want to paddleboard, or try surfing, or, fill in the blank, some other activity. Right?
Right. That would be 2. And I guess 3 is just check out some of these organizations that I love and that I've really culled through that I think are making the biggest difference in cancer in the ocean. And I'll give you those links.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Great. This was great. I am so thrilled for you, for all of your successes, for being a Tory Burch Fellow. Great opportunity.
Okay, take care.